You know the vibes. Another night of the NBA playoffs. You're now listening to the Hoop Genius podcast, brought to you by NBA 2K22. Momency alongside real name, no gimmicks, BJ Armstrong in the building. We got 3 games, plenty to discuss. We're going to whip through around the league, break down the 3 games we saw last night. If you want to hear about the other games, check out yesterday's episode and so on and so forth, because we're here Monday to Friday every morning, breaking down all of the NBA playoffs. So, BJ, how are you doing this evening?
Woo, Mo. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. You know, Mo, I was very concerned with that Phoenix Suns game. What a nice win. What a nice win. Very well played game. You know, the score didn't indicate how close this game really was.
Yeah.
And you know what? You got to give Phoenix credit. You got to give them credit. You know, New Orleans came to win, and Phoenix had to show up. I love the adjustments that that Coach Monty made. He went big tonight, Mo.
Yo, he had them twin tower lineups. Ayton and JaVale on the court at the same time. Then he had JaVale and Biyombo on the court at the same time. On the court. Yeah,
he went big to counter the athleticism. I like the adjustments that you make, right? You know. Sometimes you have a bad matchup. And for the most part, they are the most athletic team. They're probably the biggest team. Their bigs are all athletic and play fast, switch, so forth and so on. But Jackson Hayes, Larry Nance Jr., those guys are big and athletic as well. And Monty decided, Coach Williams decided to counter that with athleticism, and it worked. So great win. You can take a little breath, but not long, because this guy, Grand Theft Alvarado, is that what you guys call him?
Yeah. He was giving CP
I was watching the game with the family. My family, they love him. I was just watching the game.
Man, you got to love him, man. He's a hustler. He's a real hustler.
My wife was like, she's like, BJ, why does he always touch Chris Paul? Like, what's going on? Is he like a professional pest? I was like, I don't know, whatever it is, hey, there's 2 things. I want to point this out, Mo, before we move on.
Okay.
We saw back-to-back games in which Kevin Durant's shot was blocked, which, I think that's a first for me.
Yeah.
And then I've seen back-to-back games where CP3's gotten like an 8-second call.
Yeah. He's been harassed and hounded. One thing that stood out to me about CP before the game, my boy Jotham tweeted saying, I guarantee tonight CP hit someone on the inseam. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't take him long. He tried to kick Grand Theft Alvarado in the ball bag right there and then. So take from that what you will. You can go check the tape. Chris Paul, I see you there. But Phoenix came away with a win. The standout player for me was Mikal Bridges. 4 blocks and a steal. I said on Heat Check earlier, if you guys didn't see Heat Check, I suggest going and watching it. It was a fun episode. But I said on Heat Check, he is the key to them stepping up and clearing out this rest of the series. He stepped up. Unfortunately, Brandon Ingram looked like he picked up an injury towards the end of that game. Something happened with his elbow.
I thought it was his finger. They reported it was his finger.
Yeah, it was his finger. Yeah. It looked like
That's
something.
What they said.
He was frustrated. But yeah, it was interesting to me that, the Phoenix Suns, they won this one, but like you said, it was a close game and the Pelicans were within touching distance, but it felt like everything kind of went right. They scored double the amount of threes that the Pelicans did. Their role players were clicking. Cameron Payne was knocking down shots. Crowder got into foul trouble. Before that, he was hitting those shots. Bridges was lights out from behind the arc. How many finished with? 4 from 4 from behind the arc and 12 from 17 from the field. 31 from Bridges, 22 and 11 from Chris Paul. Like, everyone on the Phoenix Suns played really well. On the other hand, I feel like the Pelicans will be disappointed how they played on the offensive end of the floor. Their shots weren't falling like they usually would be. And they're going to have a few things to adjust and a few things to take care of when they go back home for game 6, because that double big lineup, how is Coach Willie Green going to counter that? Because now Monty Williams has made his adjustment. He's putting 2 bigs on the floor at the same time. Do you think Willie Green can go small ball and try and run the bigs off the court and catch them on the blowbys? What's the counter for having 2 bigs on the court at the same time, BJ?
It's interesting. Well, I called you and I told you, I was like, wow, why didn't I see that? That kind of went, I don't know what I was looking at, but that's why he's the coach and I'm just sitting at home on my couch looking at these games. He gets paid the big bucks. I don't know what he does because, JaVale and what's the big kid? I can't think of his name. His name
Aiton
escapes me. No, not Aiden. The kid for New Orleans. What's the big kid?
Jonas Valanciunas, Jackson Hayes, Larry Nance Jr.
Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes and JaVale. They're like both 7-foot athletic guys.
Crazy athletic guys.
Run, jump. Yeah. I mean, they both can run, dunk, jump. Then you have Larry Nance Jr., athlete. And then Valanciunas is another big body. So, this is kind of unusual, in today's game, in yesteryear, that was kind of normal that you had, big guys who could play. But I think he has to figure out how to get those guys off the floor if I'm Coach Green, because clearly they don't have their athletic advantage, which going big and athletic, playing, vertical basketball. Phoenix countered that, and that seemed to work. That was a nice adjustment. Nice adjustment by the coaching staff. That was well done. I was like, wow, like how many coaches, first of all, have the guts to play 3 centers in a game? And then you playing your centers together during the game and forcing the hand of the other coach. So clearly there's something that they see or the coaches see, and Coach Green countered it immediately. He went in another direction with Jackson Hayes. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do. Are they going to go small? If they do go small, we saw in the series versus Brooklyn and the Celtics, when you go small, you give up rebounding. Now tonight, the only thing that if I'm, Coach Green, you got to shore up the 15 turnovers.
Yeah, 100%. Phoenix got 23 points off those turnovers.
No, that's just free. That's free. That's found money, That's found gold right there. So they have to shore that up. But other than that, I thought it was a well-played game. I mean, Phoenix came out to win. Phoenix came out, and I think they scored 30-something points in the first quarter.
Yep.
They came out. They came out to fight. I love it when you come out to fight. And then you force the other team. But you know what? New Orleans hung around in there. And you know what, Mo? Say this. New Orleans should have been down. They should have been down 20-something. And they hung around.
Yeah. And there were stretches where they were within 10 points. And you're just watching thinking, if they can make a shot here.
Make a shot.
They can cut it to like 6 or 7. But they just couldn't. They couldn't execute on the offensive end. CJ just wasn't hitting like usual tonight on the offense side of the ball. Brandon Ingram, like I said, he had that little injury, but he wasn't at his usual efficiency in that second half. First half, he started off fantastic in that first quarter. Slowed down a little bit in that second half. But we're going to have to see what happens in Game 6 over in New Orleans. I know the arena is going to be packed.
Yes.
BJ, you think New Orleans can defend their home court, or do you think the Suns will close this one out?
I really do. I think if the Suns are going to win this game, they're going to have to get up 10 early. Reason being is because this New Orleans team has been playing team basketball throughout the entire series. They've stuck to the game plan. I think if they get down 10, just maybe, they may start trying to play a little individual basketball. Just maybe. I think you have to get down early, and you got to make them question, do I really want to do the following? Do I want to have to go back to Phoenix and play again? Or do you just want to end your season? So I think if you get down 10, get down 15, kind of just stay there and say, hey, you got to play exceptional basketball. I think that's going to have to win it. However, the crowd's going to be fired up. And I love the new chant. Jose, 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 Jose.
That's coming like a football chant, my brother. That's coming like a football chant.
I know. So I think it's going to be fired up. Certainly, the towels are going to be out. They're going to be ready down there in New Orleans. And as they say, Nolans, they're going to be ready to go down there. But I think Phoenix, this is nothing to play with. So nice win tonight, but certainly I'm not getting comfortable. That's for sure.
I hear that. That's a very rational and reasonable response. I would love to see it go to a game 7. I would absolutely love to see it go to a game 7. And a series that looks like it will go to a game 7 is the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Memphis Grizzlies. Because boy, oh boy, what a game that was. At times it looked extremely sloppy. And down the stretch, it was amazing. Huge shots from these kids, Anthony Edwards, and most importantly, Ja Morant winning the game with that layup. Fantastic basketball down the stretch. From both of those. I think Ja Morant hit a huge 3 with like a minute left. And then Anthony Edwards replies with a huge 3 from the corner. And then Ja Morant has the game-winning layup. It was all types of crazy. You really just love to see it. BJ, what was your takeaway from this one? Because there was a time there, Minnesota were up big. Karl-Anthony Towns was shushing the crowd and celebrating a little bit too early once again. And, we see how that ends up once again. Minnesota Timberwolves throw away a big lead, crumble, and lose the game.
I had a coach say the following: you shout praise and you whisper criticism. So before I get to the criticism of the Minnesota Timberwolves, I want to give them credit for showing up. They played to win. They played literally 47 minutes of basketball where they had a chance to win this game, and they lost in the last minute of literally the last seconds of the game on that was just a great individual play by a great athlete and a great player. Now,
it was a great pass as well. Let's give some credit to Dylan Brooks. Beautiful inbounds pass.
And I'll give Memphis credit for sticking in there. They just hung in there. I mean, they looked like they were out. Karl Towns hits a 3, and I think they were down 3 or 4, and they just stick in there. They didn't panic. So I'm going to give Memphis credit as well. But Mo, when you go back in this series, you always have to win the games you're supposed to win. This was a game they were supposed to win. They were supposed to figure this game and finish it. They played well enough to win. They fought, played well. What a great play for Anthony Edwards to hit that 3. I mean, Mo, they did everything except win the game. Now,
and I want to talk about this just real quick. That play of Anthony Edwards hit that 3. Now, I want to know your opinion, BJ. There's 2 schools of thought. If you're up 3 points and there's not much time left on the clock, there's only like 3 or 4 seconds left on the clock. Do you intentionally foul the other team so that they can make a maximum of 2 free throws? Or do you trust in your defense to get you a stop? Because I personally would say trust in your defense, but then shots like Anthony Edwards ones make you think maybe they should have just fouled being up 3, make him shoot the free throws.
In situations like that, you can't second guess yourself. And Mo, you have to, if you're going to be a good team, all right, and you are the number 1 fan of the Boston Celtics, you have to trust your defense, okay? Memphis all year has been they've been a better than average defensive team. They've been good. So if you're going to win, you got to get a stop. That was just a great shot, and you live with it. You can second guess yourself, and that's part of the game, right? Well, that's what coaches are going to second guess yourself. If he misses that shot, great game. If he makes that shot, maybe he coulda, woulda, shoulda, oughta. In the end, you live with it, and I trust that. I trust that team on the defensive end. Now, it was just a great play. So I get it. There's a train of thought here, and you live with the results of it. But overall, if Minnesota loses this series, which I'm predicting they will,
yes,
I think this goes 7. I think they're going to go back home and they're going to be fired up and they're going to play in the crowd.
We in Minnesota now.
Yeah.
They in our house now.
So I can see this coming back 7. Yeah, leave my man Carl. Leave my guy,
Big Purr. Big Purr, what they call him.
And so I felt after watching this game, when they look back on this series, and they should be really proud of what they've achieved. I mean, they're playing meaningful games, make no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. But when they look back on it, they're going to point to games like this and say, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Because one thing, everyone said, at the end of the season, both of these teams, or whoever loses, is going to say next year, and they're going to be really excited about next year. But Mo, how many times have we seen next year?
Hey, man,
and it never pans out.
That title window is real.
What is things change in a hurry, right? So I just want to see these guys take advantage of the situation and win the games you're supposed to win. They should have won tonight, Minnesota. But give Memphis credit. They hung in there. The crowd was fired up there. I mean, that was a tough environment. They, more than anything, the crowd willed the Grizzlies to a win.
Yeah.
They just willed them. I mean, it
was kind of tense in the first half. It was kind of tense.
Yes.
There was some moments I was looking at the crowd kind of, it's quiet in here. It's quiet in here. So I'm glad they got the win. That game for the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're really going to regret throwing that one away, because that game there, if they win that, they can close it out on their home court.
Yes, right.
Man, it is what it is.
Exactly. But you know what? You and I get another treat. Hopefully, we'll get a game 7 out of it.
Yes, sir.
And it's anybody's game. So, but what overall, I was thrilled with how competitive the game was. It's been a great series. A lot of trash talking. The two smallest guys on the court, John Morant and Patrick Beverly. Everybody's small except those two, because they both of them. They're always So it's a lot of fun though.
Man, I absolutely love to see it. Thing that worries me moving forward for the Memphis Grizzlies, Jaren Jackson Jr., we talk about it all the time, once again fouled out of the game. 17 minutes, fouled out, 6 fouls. This kid can't stay on the floor. Now, they've taken Steven Adams out of the starting lineup. He played no minutes. They put Xavier Tillman in at the 5. He only played 15. Thank the Lord that Brandon Clark is on this team. Brandon Clark is the reason they won that game. John Morant's going to get all the credit. Brandon Clark made all the winning plays. He was on the offensive glass. How many offensive rebounds did Brandon Clark come up with? He had 15 rebounds. 9 of them were on the offensive glass. That's huge. That's how you get back into a game. That's 3 points right there. Generating extra possessions for your team. Brandon Clark had a huge night, whilst Jaren Jackson Jr. had to watch from the sidelines.
Yeah, I mean, listen. When you get to the playoffs, Mo, you have to have discipline. There has to be a level of discipline, right? And right now, Jaren Jackson, who is a terrific defender, he has length, size, athleticism. He has all of the qualities that you want. But the discipline is just not there. So they're going to have to find a way to get him to get up to 30, 35 minutes. Some guys tonight, I think, played 44, 45 minutes. And they're going to need him, especially on the road. Mm-hmm. So, they can't afford for him to continue to get in foul trouble. They're already down 1 big by not playing
Steven Adams.
So they're just going to have to figure this one out. I mean, he's going to have to figure it out. And he's got to find a way how to play with the level of discipline and not try to be a great defender all the time. You got to be solid. And right now he's not being solid, and he's overextending and putting himself in vulnerable situations. And the defense, that he's playing is compromising the team right now because they need him out there.
Sometimes it's enough to alter a shot instead of just going for the block. But my favorite part of the series, BJ, do you know what my favorite part of it is Patrick Beverly being adamant on trying to say that the Grizzlies are too small every time he scores a bucket.
I know,
that too small sign. After his final too small sign, Ja Morant had 13 points in 3 minutes plus the game winner. Okay.
It doesn't matter. It's Patrick Beverley. To you and I, that may matter.
Hilarious.
To Patrick Beverley, it doesn't.
Hey,
it doesn't
and that's
matter.
what he does.
You know
but it's
what?
a shame he was fouled out because I think he could have made a difference on that final possession. But it was interesting. Anyway, I can't wait for that game number 7. I don't know, game 6, if Timberwolves get up, they might throw the lead again away. So we got to keep it moving, though. The first game of the evening was the Miami Heat at home without Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry.
How about that?
Taking care of business and closing out. You talk about the hardest game in a series to close. I want to hit you with some stats. I know you don't like the stats. I'm going to hit you with some stats.
I do like stats. Well, you always say that. I do like stats.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. It's stats.
So here's some stats.
The entire picture.
So here's some stats, and you tell me if you get the picture.
Okay.
In the first round of this series, guess the player I'm describing. 15.4 points per game, 31.9% from the field, 18.4% from 3, and 30 turnovers. Who was that?
That can't be Trey Young, is it?
Ice Trader Gang. Ice Trader Gang. Trey Young was locked up. It seems like if there's not angry New Yorkers around, Trey Young doesn't really rise to the occasion because he was abysmal. Yeah, I know he had that game-winning floater in game 3. Okay, cool, whatever. But the rest of the series, it was horrible. Tonight, with no Kyle Lowry and no Jimmy Butler, you're supposed to be the best player on the court. Max Strus was outplaying you. Victor Oladipo, who's been missing for the past 2 years with injuries, outplaying you. And then when it came down, because it was a close game, they got back into it at the end. He couldn't even get himself open for a shot to close the game out. I want to credit the Miami Heat defense, which has been amazing all season long. Trey Young was a minus 54 throughout that series. It was amazing to see Miami's defense really stepping up. Trey Young has got a lot of things to do. Did you see his comments after the game?
I did not. What did he say?
So he was talking about how he finds it hard to find motivation in the regular season now because it's not the same as the playoffs. Yeah. The guy who's been to one conference finals that was gifted to him by Ben Simmons having the biggest choke job in the world last season. Okay, let's look at the Hawks playoff run last season because I've been saying this all year. No one wanted to hear it. No.
Time out. Say that again, Mo. What did Trey Young say?
I'm gonna find a quote. I'm gonna find a quote for you right now, okay? But while I look for the quote, I'm gonna tell you this. Last season they got to the conference finals, but it wasn't real finals because in the first round they played the Knicks, the 4-seed Knicks. Okay, that wasn't real. Second of all, then they went on and played the Sixers, where Ben Simmons had the biggest choke job of all time, and then they got through to the conference finals. So, if you think they were really a conference finals caliber team. Okay, but here we go, BJ. I think I found a quote for you. Trey Young says after the game, where's it gone? Oh, you're gonna have to give me a second to find it. Basically said the regular season's boring. He basically said the regular season is boring.
What?
He said he finds it hard to get going in regular season because it's not as exciting as the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that one alone. Mo. I'm gonna leave that one alone because you know what, Mo, you're trying to get me excited. I can't. I can't. Yeah. All right.
So it's the regular season. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot more boring than the playoffs. You just can't find that motivation to play like it's the playoffs. That's what he was saying. And the Hawks obviously struggled a lot through the regular season. And he doesn't take into account that the regular season is where the foundations and the principles of winning teams are established and built. So shout out to Trey Young, who apparently is a Grizzly veteran for the NBA playoffs because he made the conference finals once by good fortune. Shout out to him. He had a horrendous series.
Mo,
I don't want to hear.
I was going to let that slide. I was going to let that comment slide.
I wasn't.
Okay, I was going to let it slide because he's young. But I'm going to say
no pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended. But Mo, listen. Oh, man, I just want to choose my words carefully because, again, I don't want to scream criticism. So I have to abide by my own discipline here and shout praise and whisper, the criticism. I'm going to say this. The regular season matters. The reason that it matters, Mo, is it allows for the individuals to come together to figure out what brand of basketball they're going to play during the regular season that possibly could give them the best chance when the games matter most, called the playoffs. And you figure that out during the regular season. When you love what you do, okay, you love what you do, and you come out there and you play, and it's not about, well, the playoffs are more exciting. I have a responsibility, because if you play well during the regular season, theoretically, it increases your chances because you're playing at home. We know, Mo, that we play better at home than we play on the road. We know, Mo, that it gives us a chance to play versus teams that, if you're the first, second seed, you should, I'm not saying you always do, you should beat the 8th and 7th seed. You get the rest and every advantage necessary to play. So to hear people say that, I don't think he clearly understands what he's saying. But I didn't hear the whole conversation. I just hope that Trey Young can understand the importance of seeding, of what it means to be a good teammate, but more importantly, if you're going to have this fun in the playoffs, no one, Mo, no one, and we've seen a lot of great players, no one can do this alone. Mo, no one. Okay? The Celtics, you could argue right now that before the series, you could have debated who was the best player in the series. But no one can debate who was the best team. And whoever is going to be crowned champion this year, Mo, they're going to have the best team. And I would just hope that he can learn from this mistake so that hopefully he can really understand and experience what it means to play and hold yourself accountable. Everyone can't win a championship. Okay. And some players win, some players don't. But I would hope that he would find the joy in the journey of saying, I'm committed, because the season is the playoffs. You don't just start the playoffs after the 82. Ask the Lakers. Ask the Lakers what happened this year. You know what I mean?
And the Nets too.
And the Nets. And I would hope, Mo, that you understand every game counts. Every shot counts. Every practice counts. You don't get to the playoffs without putting in the work in the summer, without practicing during the season, without having all of the discipline and all of the things. So I would just hope that he would maybe re-examine that statement, because he's a terrific player, and say, you know what you do in the summer matters, Mo. Bo, you don't just show up and win a championship. No, you actually you show up in the summertime when no one's looking, while everyone else is on vacation, you're in the gym. That's when you win a championship. Because let me tell you something right now. The best player in the game, Giannis, let me tell you what he's doing.
I know what he's doing. I've seen him.
Okay, Mo. And just let that be an example. So let's move on, and hopefully he will learn from this, because Mo, that's not how it is.
No. Well, he will have a lot of time in the offseason now, because the Hawks have been sent home. in tonight's game. The Miami Heat advance. But let's look ahead to tonight, BJ. We've got two exciting games, both of which can be closeout games at home. The Milwaukee Bucks against Chicago Bulls. No Zach LaVine, who's in the COVID protocols.
Yes.
I'm assuming that the Milwaukee Bucks take care of business. I don't think there needs to be too much to be discussed. Do you think Zach LaVine not being there can inspire his teammates to step up and do something crazy?
I don't think so. I think Milwaukee, I think the giant is up now. They woke up. They woke up the giant with that game, with game 2.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And there was a glimmer of hope. They're going back, series tied 1-1. And Milwaukee was like, no. Well, actually, it was one guy. No, Giannis. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think they're going to take care of business, close this out, and get ready for the next series. Because you know what? I do know this. There's going to be a lot of green. There's going to be a lot of green in round 2. Hey, you know what, Mo? I wouldn't be mad if you and I just stuck to one series. Because I don't want to miss a moment of this series. Why? Because, Mo, we're going to see some great talent. We're going to see some great team defense. We're going to see some great team offense. We're going to be coaching. You know, Boston has the fan base. That's going to be a rowdy, ruckus crowd. Same in Milwaukee.
Hey, we gotta save this for the preview episode after the matchup is set. Let's save that. Let's save that because we've got one more game tonight. The Denver Nuggets, can they extend the series against Golden State Warriors in Chase Center?
You know what, Mo? I got seduced by Brooklyn. So I'm just going to stick to my principles. You know what, Mo? Defense wins. Again, I'm going to give Denver this. It took them 4 games to figure out that they had the bigger players or the taller players on the floor. I don't know I don't know what took them so long. If they're going to win, which, you know, I think the Warriors are clearly in the driver's seat. They're going to have to play exceptional basketball inside out. And we'll see. I think the Warriors right now understand. I think they smell blood. I think they know that they have to close this out in game 5. Was this game 5? And I think if they can, and I think they're ready to do it. So, you know, I don't see Denver being able to win 4 straight games. I just don't see that happening.
Okay. Well, speaking of green, just as you mentioned there for the second round in the East, I want to give a shout out. J.R. Smith, North Carolina's A&T's Academic Athlete of the Year with a 4.0 GPA. Now, if you don't know, that's very, very good grades. Over here, we don't have GPAs. We have just normal grades. Shouts to J.R. Smith getting his golf game going and getting back to his studies. I respect it. Everyone likes to make jokes about J.R. Smith and for some reason make Hennessy jokes and all of this and all of that. Let's celebrate the other things that he's doing. Shouts to JR. That's been another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast. We're going to be back tomorrow breaking down both of those games. I think it's going to be a relatively chill podcast tomorrow, unless of course one of those teams can't close it out. But either way, we're going to be here bringing you the vibes, and hopefully you'll be subscribed, you'll be locked in, you'll be tuned in, because the NBA playoffs continue. BJ and I are going to be right there. Looks like we're going to have some special guests coming in next week as well, so you don't want to miss out on that. Make sure you subscribe, leave a review, leave a rating. I ain't going to talk too much right now. And until next time, get buckets.